The art of giving the right gift and to make that impression, you spoke about personalization, like paying attention to the wife and the chocolate. Like there's definitely something that almost seems like counterintuitive to just wanting to scale it and do it standardized. So I'd love to hear more about like what do we have to do to make this kind of an artful, calculated move?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is art and science. Part of the art is you're dealing with humans, right? So there's emotional baggage and perceptions and all of these things. So there's no like cookie cutter. You do this in 100% of the time. Like I talk about in the book, like I could give out 500 Ferraris to my top 500 relationships. And at least 5 people would come back and be like, I'm pissed because you sent me a red one and I want a yellow one. Like it doesn't matter what you do. And so most people take that negative feedback and say, well, I'm not going to do anything because it doesn't they focus on the bad response or the pushback or what are you trying to buy my loyalty? And so they don't understand that like when you're pushing the envelope and doing something unusual and different in business, especially around this topic that's so weird and awkward and could be misperceived, there's going to be pushback. You're going to nobody bats 1,000. I don't, with our best things that we're sending people. But I tell people all the time, like in baseball, like if you hit, 400, like you're in the Hall of Fame, even 350. So if I can bat 8 out of 10, if I can get 80% of the people that I'm engaging with and our clients are taking care of their employees or clients, if 80% of the people are loving it, I don't really care about the other 20% because it's not like a miss means I'm like killing somebody or killing kittens. Like a miss means the gift didn't land perfectly. They maybe it was like, maybe their kid was sick or maybe they're going through a divorce or like, you just never know people's mental state when you're doing this at scale. And so I think that there's elements of art to it, but there is scalability to it. Like going back to my Cutco days, which to this day, ironically enough, on the agency side, if you ask, like we got interviewed by the New York Times recently and they're like, what's the hot new sexy gift? And I said, we sell more of the knives, the stupid knives in 2023 than we have ever sold. And they're like, I thought that was the college kid thing. And I said, well, when I'm trying to scale thoughtfulness, let's say I have 1,000 employees. What are some of the common things amongst those employees? Well, what percentage of them are married? Well, in a lot of our clients, a lot of them are married. So they have a significant other. How many of them live in homes? Okay, probably all of them. How many of them, when they gather together, what do? They break bread with their loved ones, whether that's alcohol or no alcohol. There's some sort of food, some sort of drink. Like you think about the things, especially after COVID, what do we long for? We long to break bread with our loved ones. Where do we do that? In the kitchen. It's still the hub of the home. And so a stupid knife or a set of like a $10,000 set of knives that is engraved with somebody's family name and their core values and their mission statement, I could send that. And we have clients that have 1,200 employees and we'll send a knife set to all of them. And based upon the handwritten note that comes from the owner or the CEO or the VP of sales or whoever, the fact that it's personalized with their name and their spouse's name, the fact that it showed up not at Christmas, it showed up at a time of it just because. It wasn't like, hey, we have a record year or it's our 50th anniversary, we'll give you this gift. We're giving people gifts as a surprise and delight, as a just because. I can take something like the knives or something practical, I call them practical luxuries, as a delivery vehicle, and I can send it out to thousands of people. And a lot of those people, and we have proof even from Google. I had people from Google that received the knives that said, this is the most thoughtful gift I've ever received. And I'm like, you work at Google. You have, like you can't walk 5 steps without running into a coffee shop or free food and they're like, John, this is the first time somebody ever sent us something that was included my family, that didn't have a logo on it, that didn't have an ask, that had a handwritten note. Like these simple things that we take for granted in relationships, the digital is easier, or typing the note is easier, or I don't know the spouse's name, I don't want to do the homework to get that, or can't we just throw a logo on it? All of those little details determine whether or not what something lands and whether it's like, wow, this is the most thoughtful thing. Even a stupid knife can land and be like, wow, as an anchor, as a pillar of like, this person cares about me. Or as soon as you slam a logo on it, it's no longer a gift, it's a uniform or it's a promotional item. And so those little intricacies, people will try to duplicate what we're doing. And I'm like, guys, I gave you the whole recipe. You don't need Giftology to do it as an agency for you. But what most people end up doing is Giftology-ish. They cut one corner here, they cut one corner there, and then they come back to me like, John, we did it, but we didn't get the response. Like, what the heck? Like, you're lying to us. And I'm like, well, tell me your process. Tell me the recipe. And they'll give me the recipe. And I'm like, you forgot an ingredient. It's like baking bread. You can bake the bread all day long. You bake 100,000 loaves. But if you forget yeast or you forget water, like one ingredient, you don't get bread. Like, period, end of story. And so that's where the art element, but the science matters. Like, there are certain rules to follow. And if you don't follow those rules, don't expect the results and the relationships to be deepened. You're just sending crap in the mail. And Amazon's really good at that, but it doesn't pull at somebody's heartstrings. Most of the time it's like, oh, another thing came.
Mm. While we're at it, I know you mentioned a couple already. So you had like, don't expect anything in return. Don't make it a uniform. That was a great rule you just shared right there. The timeliness of it is not just because tied to a certain result or it's like a reward for something. You're talking about something that's completely almost like a random. Are those like the hard rules of it, or are there the recommendations here?
Yeah, no, they're the hard rules, because most of the time people are giving a gift out of expectation or obligation. Hey, it's an anniversary for the company or the person. Hey, you've been here for 5 years, 10 years, 20, like, and it's usually, here's a catalog of crap to pick from that you don't really want. And mind you, somebody works for a company for 5 years. That's like not really that long, but in today's day and age, it's kind of a long time, right? That's 10,000 hours that they put in. If you just paid them an extra $1 per hour, that means that you should be giving them a $10,000 gift, right? How many times does a 5-year employee get a $10,000 gift? Pretty much 0.0000001% of the time. I give nicer gifts to people that haven't even started working for me as interns than most people give to their 10-year employees. Why? Because I understand that showing up for somebody before they show up for me and honoring them before they come on means that they're respected, they're feeling energy, they feel buzz. And so a lot of times people in companies, like, think about like some baseline benefits that cost companies billions of dollars, like health insurance and 401k matches. Like, for a typical small company, even large, that costs $20,000 to $30,000 per employee to offer health insurance in the US anyway. Health insurance and 401k matches, 20 to 30 grand. And nobody says thank you. Like, those are table stakes benefits and gifts. You don't even say thank you. It's just like, it's like expected. Whereas something like, you send somebody a $500 welcome gift before they've even started, and you send it to their home and you honor their spouse, you just spent 1/40th the amount, but you'll get 40 times the impact, because people are like, I didn't even get this nice a gift when I worked 10 years for this other company. And you're honoring me and loving me and respecting me enough to send this before I've even put in an hour of work. Well, how does that make that person feel? They're like, these guys get it. I feel, because most people leave a company, what? Not just because of the pay. It usually pay is number 4. It's usually honor, respect, and appreciation. They don't feel like their manager gets them. And here's a way that you can put into a system of saying, hey, okay, most people feel unappreciated. How about we flip the script and we find reasons to appreciate them, and we go out of our way, not because of a bonus, not because of a record year, not because of an anniversary. We call it planned randomness. It's a just because I was thinking of you, just because you're on my team. And so that's how you can take something and do it at scale. Like, a company with 10,000 employees could do this. You could also do it with 10. And so the timing matters just as much as what you're sending. Mm-hmm. So I say to put it easily in the book, we say no ABC gifting, no anniversaries, no birthdays, no Christmas. And really what that means is, don't do it at transactional expected times. With your clients, you sign $1 million deal, don't give them a gift. What does that feel like? Wow, I spent $1 million and I get a bottle of Opus One for $500. Like, who cares? I just spent $1 million with you. Whereas a gift shows up to that client or that center of influence or that referral source as a, hey, just because I was thinking of you, I'm sending this. You know, for me with my wife, if I show up on Valentine's Day or her birthday or Christmas, do I earn brownie points? Hell no. Like, those are table stakes. But if I show up for my wife on a random Tuesday in the middle of February and say, hey, honey, I got you booked for the 4 seasons for the entire day. I got the 4 girls, everything's taken care of. In her head, she's thinking, it's not Valentine's Day. It's not Christmas. It's not my birthday. You did this intentionally because you wanted to? Are you freaking kidding me? Do I earn brownie points there? Yes, 1,000 times more. And that's where it's unusual. Like, in our minds, the way God's wired us, whether you believe in God or not, is if you do something for somebody, like that's why the Robert Cialdini is beautiful at this. Like he's done all this research for 30 years on influence and persuasion. There's a study at Cornell where they would give a mint after after you were paying, or with the check at a restaurant. That mint costs a quarter of a penny. So they give you a mint, unexpected. Hey, thanks for being with us tonight. The tips went up 16%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but compared to a quarter of a penny, it's in the thousands of a percent. So you put $1 in and you get $2,000 back. It doesn't make any logical sense, but as a human, when somebody does something as a surprise and delight, that's, I didn't invent that. It's a Ritz-Carlton mindset. How do you take a relationship and surprise and delight them? You have to do things not transactionally, not at expected obligatory times like birthdays and, hey, we're having a conference. Here's your swag bag. Does that feel like surprise and delight? Hell no. It feels like, oh, we got to give you some crap with our logo on it. Maybe a few of you will wear it. It'd be billboards for us. That doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like connecting. It feels manipulative. It feels at best. And so, yes, those rules. Now, are there times to break them? Sure. But you're breaking them intentionally. And 99 out of 100 times, following the playbook, following the recipe, if you want to get the results, you have to follow the recipe.
Thank you so much for listening to the Selling with Love podcast. We have some previous episodes you can tune into right here. And if you prefer the short form content where you get to the point in under 10 minutes, we do have a ton of clips from our best episodes that are being shared on this channel as well. So pick which one supports you the most. And of course, thank you for liking, subscribing, and of course, selling with love.